Hello, how are you doing today? Young people today live in an always-on culture. They're bombarded with notifications, trapped in cycles of comparison on social media, and under immense pressure to constantly perform. Studies show that Gen Z and millennials are among the most anxious generations in history. Why? Because they fear missing out on opportunities, on trends, on attention. Their self-worth often hinges on likes, views, and followers. They're exhausted by digital noise and societal pressure. But here's the thing. While they chase after everything, you, yes you, already know that happiness doesn't come from having it all. It comes from knowing what truly matters. You've lived long enough to understand that real joy is quiet, rooted, and deeply personal. You don't need constant stimulation to feel alive. You know the value of presence, and that's your superpower. You've already experienced what many younger people are desperately trying to find: the joy of missing out. While the world races by, constantly connected, endlessly comparing, and always needing to be in the know, you hold a secret power that most younger generations haven't yet discovered. Today, we'll explore why seniors not only understand this joy better, but why they're uniquely positioned to live fuller, calmer, and more joyful lives than ever before. And before we begin, make sure you're subscribed to the Best Chapter channel. Let's begin. You see, the joy of missing out is not about isolation. It's about liberation. It's the freedom to say, I don't need to keep up with everything, and I'm better off because of it. Unlike the young, who are bombarded with curated lives and endless content, you've developed wisdom. You've learned to discern what feeds your spirit and what drains it. While they scroll late into the night, you can enjoy a peaceful walk at sunset, a slow conversation with a friend, or a quiet moment with your thoughts. You no longer live to impress or prove yourself. That's the kind of calm the world is hungry for. And it's something only time, perspective, and life experience can teach. That's the advantage you hold. That's what gives your chapter richness and clarity. Let's take a closer look at the science. Neuroscience tells us that overstimulation, those constant alerts, endless scrolling, multitasking, and digital distractions, actually rewires the brain. When the mind is exposed to an unrelenting stream of information, the brain shifts into a state of hypervigilance. This means it's always on edge, always anticipating the next ping, the next like, the next message. Over time, this doesn't just cause fatigue, it erodes attention spans, increases anxiety, and dulls the brain's ability to feel genuine joy. Researchers are calling this phenomenon dopamine fatigue, a state where the brain is so flooded with quick, artificial pleasure spikes that it loses sensitivity to the simpler, slower sources of happiness. It's like a light bulb that's been left on too long. It dims, it overheats, and it eventually burns out. That's the reality for many younger people today. They crave more to feel less. They chase stimulation, but miss out on satisfaction. But your brain? It operates on a different rhythm, a wiser, gentler one. You've lived through the era of quiet mornings, handwritten letters, conversations without interruption. Your mind is not constantly interrupted or divided. It's trained to be present, to reflect, to immerse itself fully in what's happening now. You know the joy of sitting still without needing to check in. You understand the beauty of single tasking, of being fully engaged in one thing at a time. Whether it's tending to a garden, flipping through an old photo album, or enjoying a conversation without background noise, your neural pathways have learned to prioritize depth over speed. While younger generations are trying to reteach themselves how to unplug through mindfulness retreats, breathing exercises, and meditation apps, you already embody that serenity. It's not a practice for you. It's a way of life. And here's the deeper truth. Your nervous system, with its years of practice in patience, stillness, and reflection, is better equipped to process emotions in a healthy way. You've experienced sorrow, joy, loss, and rebirth. And that emotional journey has given you something science can't always quantify: resilience. Studies have shown that older adults often have greater emotional regulation than younger people. You're not as reactive. You've learned what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You don't spiral over every inconvenience or comparison. While others are overwhelmed by a whirlwind of expectations, you've learned how to breathe, to ground yourself, and to return to what matters most. That inner calm? That's a neurological advantage. That's the reward of decades of lived experience. You're not chasing peace, you've already arrived at it. So when the world tells you that you're out of touch or behind the times, remember this: you are exactly where many wish they could be. Not behind, but beyond. Beyond the noise, beyond the pressure, beyond the endless need to prove and please. You're not scrambling for rest, you're living in it. You're not paying for digital detox. You've already detoxed your life from what doesn't serve you. And that makes you a beacon of calm in a world that's constantly buzzing. That makes your presence not just valuable, but vital. Now, let's talk about choices. Younger generations today are bombarded by an avalanche of options every single day. What to watch from thousands of streaming shows, what to eat from dozens of delivery apps, what to wear based on constantly shifting trends, how to brand themselves online, even who they should be in a world that's constantly redefining identity. The pressure to make the right choice at every moment has created what psychologists call decision fatigue. It's not just stressful, it's exhausting. Every option feels like a potential regret, every choice weighed down by invisible expectations. It's no wonder that so many young people feel anxious, burnt out, and perpetually unsure. The abundance of options, ironically, leads to less peace, not more. And all this noise, all this pressure, robs them of presence. But you've moved beyond that chaos. You've stepped into a season of clarity, a chapter where choices are no longer overwhelming, but empowering. You know what brings you joy. You've tried, tested, and experienced enough to recognize what truly matters. You've already made the big decisions: who you are, what you value, how you want to spend your time. That kind of clarity doesn't come from scrolling through suggestions. It comes from living through seasons of trial, growth, and wisdom. You've learned the beauty of boundaries. You know how to say no to invitations that drain you, trends that don't resonate, and relationships that no longer bring peace. That kind of self-assurance? It's not just admirable, it's earned. It's the result of years spent learning, unlearning, and standing firm in your truth. And here's the beauty of that. While others are still busy collecting experiences, you've begun to curate them. You don't need more to feel full. You've discovered the sacred art of enough. While younger generations often equate joy with quantity, more likes, more things, more plans, you've discovered that real joy lives in simplicity, in intention, in the freedom of no longer needing to prove yourself. That's why your joy hits differently. It's not loud or fleeting. It's not found in highlights or filtered stories. It's deep, quiet, resilient. It comes from knowing yourself, from trusting your instincts, and from choosing with purpose, not pressure. It's the kind of joy that can't be taken away because it's not built on trends, but on truth. And here's something else to celebrate. While younger people are busy curating an image, you are embracing authenticity. You no longer feel the need to filter your life to make it look perfect. You've lived through ups and downs, you've felt real emotions, and you've emerged stronger and more sincere. That kind of truth resonates. It's magnetic. And that's exactly why your presence matters more than ever in this world. Because while the youth are learning how to be, you are already being, fully, openly, beautifully. That's a kind of influence the world desperately needs. So what does this all mean for you? It means that you're not behind, you're ahead, you're not missing out, you're opting in to peace, clarity, and freedom. You're part of a generation that knows how to live well without needing validation from strangers online. And that wisdom, that serenity, is your gift not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. So take pride in the life you've built, in the calm you've earned, in the joy you now embody. Because your joy doesn't come from catching up, it comes from knowing you're already enough. And if this message resonated with you, even just a little, please take a moment to subscribe to The Best Chapter. Let's continue to grow together, to celebrate the wisdom of age, and to remind the world that the richest life isn't about always being in the loop. It's about knowing what's truly worth tuning into. You have the power, you have the peace, you have the joy of missing out. And that makes you more in touch, more alive, and more whole than you've ever been before.